I'm going to do something different today. No non sequitur intro. I just want to talk about something that's been stressing me out lately, and perhaps you too. So I'll be talking about that in today's episode. Hey everyone, Andy Wong here. Welcome to the latest episode of Demonware. Demonware is a weekly show about the work on my graphic novel, which shares the same name, as well as things that are in my headspace regarding technology and society that I want to talk about. So something that's been stressing me out lately, perhaps you've been in the same situation. You're going through your Twitter, your Facebook feeds, Instagram, whatever it is, whatever social media or news you're going to look at, and you just feel awful at the end of it. And I don't mean because there's awful news. There's a lot of that going around, but your head feels like you can't take any more in and you just feel tired or depressed. That was happening to me for a while, and I was wondering what was going on. And it turned out that it's actually stress related to information overload. So I decided to do some research and investigate why people like you or me have been facing this kind of stress increasingly over the past couple years. So I want to mention a report from the University of California in San Diego that detailed we consume about 34 gigabytes of information on a daily basis. And that is 5 times more than what we consume on average in 1986, which is roughly about 6.8 gigabytes of information. So a newer report came out in 2013, and that number almost doubled to 63 gigabytes of information. That is 9 times more than the amount of information that we consumed in 1986. So let's put all that in numbers that can make sense to us. So the average word is about 2 bytes of information. 1 gigabyte is 1 billion bytes. So if we multiply some numbers, that means that 1 gigabyte is 500 million words. So if we times that by 63 gigabytes, that is 315 billion words. So the average adult novel is roughly 90,000 words. If we divide 315 billion words with 90,000, we end up with 3.5 million. So that means on average, we face and consume over 3.5 million books worth of information every day. So using 1986 numbers for comparison, 1986 numbers are 37,000 books of information. So in comparison to 1986, that's an over 9,000
What, 9,000?
% increase of information that we're dealing with. You're probably saying to yourself, Andy, how can that be? I read books when I go to sleep at night. I only can get through a few chapters. I want to note that these numbers are a reflection of how many things your stimuli are facing every day, unconsciously and consciously. This amount of information can lead to stress, which produces an enzyme, cortisol, in your brain. And the more cortisol you have in your brain means that you're getting this feeling that your head is completely full and can't take in more information. And it's stressful. So over the years, we've become smarter, but we also have devices like cell phones that help us prioritize and organize what we can do on a day-to-day basis. But biologically, we haven't changed much. Our brain is wired to look for interesting things as part of our survival instinct. And that's hard to keep under control. So how do you personally deal with it? So I have 3 bits of advice that will help you alleviate that stress a bit. So number 1, take note on how much information you consume on a daily basis and for how long. So what I mean by taking note of what you consume, take note what you do on your computer, like how much time you spend on Twitter. When you're using your phone, what apps are you using the most? Just set a timer and you can do things on your phone like, hey Siri, start stopwatch. So keep track of the habits, how much time you're spending on YouTube, how much time you're spending on Twitter, Facebook, what have you. And that'll help educate you and inform you on how much time you're spending on things. And that'll lead to advice piece number 2. Number 2, prioritize what's important to you. So if that information on hand, that time that you're tracking, you can help prioritize that as think about what's important to you and what time you want to spend on. If it's your job, then yes, you should prioritize your job. If you're spending a lot of time, even if it's job related, if you're spending a lot of time looking at hundreds and hundreds of emails every day, set limited amounts of time to deal with it. So let's say in the morning, I come into my office and I have 100 emails. I'll use 15 minutes of my time in the morning to look at those emails and to set which ones are something of a priority for me to respond to and set aside things that are unimportant. So for the unimportant things that you find maybe distracting, if there's something you're looking at Twitter or Facebook that angers you a lot, perhaps you should unfollow that person, or if you're on Facebook, set those posts to not be on your news feed. If you notice something is stressing you out, spend less time dealing with that and on the things you care about the most, whether it be your job, your career, a hobby, or your family. Prioritize that over the unimportant things. And number 3, slot in time to allow your mind to wander. So when you're tired, what do? You relax, you sleep, and your mind needs time to recuperate. And I don't mean you should go sleep. If you lead a busy lifestyle, perhaps you can take a 10 to 15 minute nap, and that can do wonders for your mind and give you the energy to take in more information the rest of the day. Or you can do things like walking or exercising or doing something that doesn't require a lot of mental focus and work, like doing the dishes or cleaning up your apartment. Do things that don't require an extreme amount of mental focus when you take a break. Allow your mind to wander. If you focus too much on distracting or very unimportant things to you, you lose the ability to focus and you lose the ability to think critically. So that's it for today's episode. My question for you for this week is, are there things that are online that are stressing you out? Is there advice that you can share with people on how to relax, how to deal with that stress? How do you deal with consuming too much information? Leave a comment down below or respond to me on Twitter. Create more, consume less. I'll see you next week. We consume roughly about... There's my cat, by the way. Let's compartmentalize that and put that in numbers that make a lot... Cat. 1 gigabyte is 1 billion bytes of information. Wow.